Hey everyone, this is Alfred from The Prompted, and today we're talking about the changing tariff situation and what we can do in our businesses to respond. And it's been a bit of a roller coaster for those of us in the world of ecom. We've seen tariffs introduced and de minimis rules paused. We've seen USPS pause shipments, and then those pauses were lifted, and then new tariffs were introduced. It's been an eventful week, to say the least. These back and forth policy changes could mean that uncertainty is probably the new normal. So we have to stay agile and ready to optimize multiple levers in our businesses. And at the same time, we have to be careful not to over optimize and make rash decisions on a policy change that we end up regretting down the line because the situation changed again later. In this video, we'll introduce these levers that you can use to respond to these tariff changes, like adjusting your pricing, supply chain, and marketing strategies. But these are actually always important for maximizing your profits, regardless of whether these tariff changes are happening or not. So if you're watching this video sometime down the road and the situation is settled, then these levers are still critical to maximizing your profits. And we suggest revisiting them periodically to make sure you're getting the most out of your business. And if you like this video and want more detailed and actionable advice for your store, then you should check out our free email newsletter where we share examples and insights to help you scale your store. Link is in the description. All right, let's get started. Okay, so with the new tariffs coming online, how could this impact your business? The most obvious impact is the rising cost of goods, meaning you have higher product costs and lower margins. But there's other potential impacts as well. For example, we've seen USPS pause accepting packages from China because the de minimis rule, where duties are waived for packages under $800, are paused because they didn't have the capacity to handle the extra overhead of the new rules. So as of the time of recording, that whole situation has been reversed, but it just shows how fragile the situation is, and that if a different policy comes into effect that your logistics relies on, then you could be seeing shipping delays or even halts. So this can lead to stock shortages and ultimately unhappy customers who are waiting for their packages to arrive. Overall, this can have a really bad impact on your bottom line, so you'll want to be prepared with countermeasures. So here's 4 levers that you can use to help maximize your profits with the pros and cons of each of them. And after introducing these levers, we'll discuss a little bit on how to decide which ones are right for your business. Number 1 is raising your prices. It seems simple, but sometimes that's all it takes. You can maintain or even increase margins by raising your prices. For example, if before the tariffs your cost of goods was $10 and your products are priced at $20, then you have $10 of margin. If your cost of goods goes up by $2, then your margin goes down to $8. So raising your prices can narrow that gap on a per unit basis. On the other hand, raising prices could lead to lower conversions and sales volume, and could lead to lower overall profit. So for example, if you previously sold 1,000 units with $8 of margin, then that would lead to $8,000 of profit. But if you raise prices and now sell only 500 units with $10 of margin, then you'll be left with only $5,000 of profits. So even though on a per unit basis you have more margin, you end up with lower amounts of profits at that lower volume. So it does take a bit of work to optimize your pricing strategy. Number 2, you can negotiate or change suppliers. So you can talk to your suppliers about lowering your costs. There could be many ways this can be done, but if you have a long-standing relationship with them and you have already brought them in lots of business, then they may understand that keeping your costs low could help them too, because you'll continue to drive volumes that keeps them profitable. That could include adjusting your order quantities to take advantage of the economies of scale when ordering large batches. Or you could even change suppliers altogether. So if you find a competitor that offers more favorable pricing, then that could be a switch that you can consider. Now, on the other hand, making changes with your suppliers can come with some negatives. So maybe you have to order larger quantities, and in doing so, you tie up more capital that you need for other parts of your business. Or it could mean that you need longer lead times, which could mean that you go out of stock, which then leads to customer dissatisfaction because they can't get your product. And changing suppliers. This could also cause headaches. So if their quality standards maybe aren't as high as your previous one, or if you make a complex product and it takes time and money for this new supplier to get up and running to produce that product. So again, careful consideration needs to be taken on how to approach your suppliers for your store. Number 3, optimizing your shipping and fulfillment. So you can look at a few different ways to reduce your shipping and fulfillment costs. You can first see how you can reduce your per parcel cost to save on margin. So for example, if you're using a 3PL, you could consider bringing shipping back in-house to save on the labor costs. Or if you're shipping large volumes, then you could use a shipping consolidator to reduce your per parcel cost. And if you're already using services like these, then you can shop around to see if you can find one that offers better rates. One strategy you could do is actually think about where you're shipping from. So for example, if your warehouse is on one side of the country, but your customers are on the other side, then you can consider warehousing closer to where your customers are so that you can get better shipping rates. Or if you're drop shipping internationally and the de minimis rule is paused, then when considering the extra duties and tariffs, it may mean it's more economical to purchase in bulk and warehouse locally. On the other hand, all of these changes to your logistics means that making any sort of changes leads to more upfront costs and capital, could lead to more delays in the short term as you make that transition. Number 4, adjusting marketing spend and strategy. So marketing spend can sometimes be your largest expense. So you should look to optimize it so you can more efficiently find new customers, especially with shrinking margins. Getting the right message in front of the right customer in the right place can mean that for the same marketing dollars, you can get more sales, more profit, and that can allow you to even boost your volume. And when paired with premium branding, you can build brand equity that leads to less price sensitivity with your customers. On the other hand, if not done carefully, or if you make decisions without good data, then you could be overspending in the wrong places or cut out profitable channels, leading to shrinking profits. So those are 4 levers you can consider. But even when you know what they are, it's not that simple to implement. These levers are interlinked. For example, changing price might change how you need to spend on marketing, or negotiating with suppliers could affect your shipping times. These variables just don't exist in a vacuum. This is why you need to continuously test and measure. So for example, you can run A/B tests on prices and offers to see how the market responds, which can give you information on the impact on your business's profits. So when considering any of these changes to any of those levers, it is important to not just make a decision and change it. You want to first do some testing, get some data, and then you can make an informed decision on what's the best direction to take. And the one thing that we know is that nothing is set in stone. So this tariff landscape is still changing, and we should be prepared for it to continue to in the foreseeable future. And this means you have to stay agile and continue to test. So figuring out what's best for you can get confusing. And I get it. There's a lot going on. So if you want more tailored support to guide you through these levers, then you might be a good fit for stress-free scaling. Just sign up for the free email newsletter to learn more. All right, so today we talked about the roller coaster situation with tariffs and how we can respond in our businesses to reduce the impact and maximize our profits. We went over 4 levers that we can use and discussed some pros and cons of each. And remember that these strategies aren't just when we have tariffs. These are fundamental business strategies that you can use at any time. But that's it for today. Check out the free email newsletter, and I'll see you in the next one.